Join us in the Bear Den, a real-life, real-love podcast celebrating the joys and challenges of parenting, family dynamics, and unconditional love.
Welcome, my friends, to another episode of the Bear Den podcast. Today, I have the queen bee of IG. See what I did there?
I like it.
Miss Necole Hammond. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
First ever podcast.
First ever.
Nervous?
Yep. Yes.
You've got nothing to be nervous
I know.
about.
I was like,
You got
a little
nothing
jittery.
to be nervous about. So I want to dive in. I actually don't know a lot about you. I obviously know more about your husband because we are in We Are the Day together, and I love that stud of a man. He's such a great guy, but I actually don't know a lot about you. And the reason why I wanted to bring you on is obviously you are a mother, you are a wife, you are a business owner, and you seem to handle it all so gracefully.
So gracefully.
So gracefully. So tell me a little bit about who Necole is. What was your childhood like? Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Give me the skinny. Teach me all about you.
I actually grew up in Orem, right here.
Okay.
So I don't live in Orem anymore, but this
Where
is
do you
where I
live
grew
now?
up. Nephi.
Oh.
It's about 45 minutes, super small town.
Yeah.
We lived in Lehigh for a while, and it was just getting so busy.
Gotcha.
Lehigh is like at the point of the mountain right
Yeah,
there.
I know what that is. Yep.
And yeah, it was getting too busy, so we headed south. And now we live in a teeny town, and I like it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So born in Orem, now live in Nephi.
Yes.
So obviously went to school, grew up, Salt Lake City, this area.
Yep, Utah County.
Yep.
I was a Bruin, went to the high school right over here, and graduated in 2000, and
Very cool.
there we go.
What was your childhood like? Parenting wise, happy, sad, siblings? Give me the skinny.
I have a little sister. She's 7 years younger than me, and that's it. It's just me and my little sister.
Nice.
And she lives in Alabama now, so we
Roll
chat on the
Tide, baby.
phone. Oh, yeah?
Roll Tide,
There we
baby.
go. So we chat on the phone a lot, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you, do you see each other a lot? Are you still super close? Like, do you still have, even though you're not together or see each other as often, do you still have a super close relationship? Like, do you open up to each other, tell each other your deepest, darkest secrets, your boy crushes, all that sort of stuff?
We're probably the closest now than we've ever been.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Yeah. And how do you keep, because obviously, you know, for me, for instance, my siblings are back in the UK. And so a lot of our stuff is through text and, you know, we don't see each other very often, you know, every 2 years, whatever. What do you do to keep your relationship with your sister so alive?
We probably call each other every other day.
That's cool.
We send each other memes, you know, the regular type of stuff.
That's literally how my brothers and I communicate. Well, my brother in particular. He and I can be texting backwards and forwards for like a good hour.
Yeah.
And Andrew will be like, oh, how's Neil? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. She's like, what did he have to say for himself? I'm like, actually, not a lot. She's like, well, what did you talk about? Actually, nothing. It was literally just like meme after joke after bullshit.
That's the best stuff,
And
though.
I'm like, yeah. And I feel like we've had a complete conversation about life. I know he's good. He knows I'm good.
Yep.
And there was actually no content in that entire conversation. So it's so funny you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So grew up here, little sister.
Yes.
What was your childhood like?
Like, I had a good childhood. I don't want to discredit, like, anybody and all their efforts.
Yeah.
But I feel like my parents gave me the best they could. My mom and dad, they got pregnant with me when my mom was 16.
Oh,
and my
wow.
dad was, I believe, 19.
Okay, super young.
And they got married. And so, yeah, she had me super young. And then she had my sister 7 years later. But, yeah, it was just kind of... Now, when I look back, there was things that I'm like, oh, that's not a normal thing
Like what?
to happen. Well, my mom, unfortunately, was an alcoholic,
Okay.
like a very bad alcoholic. So I remember, I think it was my 16th birthday. She was in rehab. She went there a few times. But I'm sure, like, I look back, and it's so funny because John will ask me about something about my childhood, and I literally don't know. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I think you've just blocked things. And I'm like, probably.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of things I've blocked, but I don't know. I'm trying to think where to even go with this. But like, I had a good childhood. I don't remember anything bad really happening until about junior high. And then I started, I think, realizing what was happening. I think
Did
I
you
was
have a
just kind
good
of
relationship with your mom, even through the alcoholism, through the rehab? Like, was there a motherly daughter bond, or was it a little?
No,
estranged?
I think we had a good relationship.
Did you end up leaning more towards your father?
Yeah, I always pictured myself more of like a daddy's girl.
Daddy's girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like I had a normal relationship with them. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't, there wasn't anything there. She just had an illness that she couldn't control. But when I was a teenager and young, I was like, you can control that, and you're choosing to do. That's how my perspective was like, you're choosing to do this, and you don't love us enough to like get over this illness, which isn't the case. Do you know what I mean? I know now that, it's a real struggle.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's pretty prevalent with us too. Yeah, with not that Andrea or I are alcoholics, but our daughter's biological dad is an alcoholic, and they're 13 and 11. They're going right through the exact same things that kind of you went through. The same thoughts of well, if you loved us, you'd give it up, and if you loved us, you'd do better. And both of our girls have gone through the mindset of, well, we need to see him more and be there for him more, because he has to have the hope of us to get him over the alcohol. And we're like, you're really setting yourself up for disappointment, because if he can't do it for himself, he's not going to do it for everybody else. And they did. They clung on to that hope that if they go and see him and spend time with him, that he would get better for them. And then he didn't. And it was a case of, well, shit, what was that all for?
yeah.
And
No, I definitely understand that.
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that, because that's something that Andrea and I and our girls are going through, right now at this point in time. It's something we've been going through for several years. But so I know what you mean when you say that of, well, why don't you just stop drinking and love us? Like,
Right? Just don't drink.
Just
like,
don't drink.
It's simple. Like,
Yeah.
but
Once it's took hold, it's evil. Is she still with us today? Do you still have a relationship with your mom?
she is still here. No, I do not have a relationship with her. I don't know if it's like unfortunately or fortunately. It's kind of, but probably I just kind of set some boundaries and wouldn't let her into my life because I needed to protect my kids. Because she let people into her life that would not be healthy for my kids to know or interact with.
Gotcha.
Finally, like rewind. I was in high school, and I don't know. It was just, I'm sure your kids can kind of maybe, hopefully they don't understand, but just holidays. Every holiday there was drinking.
Yeah.
And it was like enough that it was passed out. And then it was eventually every weekend. But it was the type of, she would come home from work Friday, drink, be passed out all weekend. And then Monday would come along, she'd be up and everything was fine. Like, we didn't talk about it. Like, it's like the weekend never happened to her. But to me, it was like.
And how old are you at this time?
I bet you 10th, 11th grade, maybe.
Okay.
Ish. I started realizing it in junior high, and I was like, "Oh wait, this isn't normal," kind of a thing.
Did you start putting boundaries up then at that age?
No. I just it is what it is, and I would tell my friends, "Oh, my mom's sick this weekend. We can't have a sleepover at my house. My mom's sick."
Gotcha.
And that's just what I said. Like, I wasn't hiding it. I didn't feel I was hiding it. I was just, "She's sick. Let's go to your house," kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then eventually it was like, oh, she couldn't get up Monday morning. So then I would have to call her work and say, "Hey, my mom's sick today. She can't come to work." You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff was happening.
Yeah.
And then I had a little sister who I always felt like I was trying to protect.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that was, like, obviously that's what you're going to do as an older sibling. But hold on, my mouth's dry.
So do you almost feel like you were parenting your little sister?
Yeah. I don't know if I was parenting her, but just trying to like make sure she was okay. I would just, "Oh yeah, it's fine. It's
Protect
fine."
her from what you were seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so I think that was kind of maybe hard on us, like as siblings, because I was trying to like maybe mother her or protect her, and she's just like, I can handle my own. I don't know, but
it's really, it's so interesting that you're on the podcast and you're talking about this. Obviously, I had no idea this was part of your backstory, but the things that you're saying is so relevant to what we've seen with our girls. Lily, who's 13, Anna, who's 11, and there's only 2 years between them. But Lily was very similar to you. She would want to protect Anna from seeing, hearing, or feeling their dad in a drunken state. Their dad would, go to bed at 7 and the girls would still be up and they're like, okay, we haven't had dinner. What are we going to do? So Lily would like cook dinner and make sure they're okay, put Anna to bed, then put herself to bed. And this is now at the age of 10 and 8.
yeah.
So it's so interesting that, you've gone through this and our daughters are going through this. And it seems that, you were very similar to how our Lily is or was. But now as they've kind of got a little older and understand the illness and understand the consequences that the illness has brought, they both actually stand very independent in their thoughts and their feelings, but they're very cohesive and together on, being siblings.
Yeah.
There's been a little bit of a rift of, Anna doesn't want to see her dad, Lily does. Lily's like, Anna, you really should. And Anna's like, well, Lily, you really shouldn't. And there's been a couple of little arguments backwards and forwards, but together as a siblings, they're really close. But there has been that almost that shift of, Lily's done exactly the same as you did, try and protect their little sister from seeing it, feeling it, hearing it, and seeing it firsthand. So it's so interesting that, we didn't know this was going to happen today, but we're already connected. Look at that. So as you were growing up, obviously your dad was at home. Mm-hmm. Your mom is obviously going through this illness of alcoholism, and you've got you and your little sister. What was your dad doing? Was he doing anything to placate it, keep it away from you, protect you?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, he was a very hard worker.
Okay.
Like, even if he was sick, he would go to work. Yeah. Like, he just had a work ethic, and he would go to work. He would just make things happen. So honestly, like, I don't remember, like, it's weird. I can't even think about, like, I'm sure he tried to protect us, but there was only so much he can do, really, because he would be at work and things would happen. And if it got really bad, I'd have to call him and he would have to come home, depending on what was happening at the moment. But I feel like he was doing the best he could too.
Yeah.
He was dealt this hand and he didn't know how to deal with it either. He didn't have tools to, he didn't have tools given to him to like teach his kids what's going on and why this is happening and how he can, adapt to everything too. So I think he was just kind of.
Are your parents still together?
No.
Okay.
No. They got divorced when I was pregnant with my second, so about 17 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. It was funny. He called me on the phone. He's like, hey, Necole, like, I'm going to get divorced from your mom. And honestly, like, I think I told him, I'm like, it's about time.
I was going to say, about time. We've been waiting, Dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Do you still have a good relationship with your dad?
Yeah.
Is he here in?
Yeah, he's in Utah County as well.
Nice.
So.
Do you get to see him very often?
Yeah, we see him about a few times a year.
Is he a good grandpa? Spoil the shit out of the kids?
He's a good grandpa.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, when did you meet John? Well, tell me. So you obviously going through all this, you're growing up. High school and college? Did you go to high school and college here in Utah?
Yes, I went to high school here, and then I went to cosmetology school here. So.
Oh. Is that something you always wanted to do?
No.
Tell
Honestly. Well, I went in high school, I was going to be a nurse. Okay. So I took anatomy and like those type of classes. And then I graduated. I went to college right here, like right after high school. I went for like 2 months and I'm like, this sucks. Like I hated college. Like I hated school. And I'm like, I just hated it. So I dropped out.
Okay.
But then I got a job at a bank and I worked at a bank. And then all of a sudden this guy comes in and he owns a school, like a cosmetology school. He comes in and he's like, oh yeah, you should come. I'll hook you up or whatever.
First of all, was he cute?
No, he was like 60.
Okay.
So, well, no, now he's probably like, anyways. I was going to ask you, do you ever watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? Okay, I didn't think so.
Ever.
Anyway,
Never.
he's one of the dads to one of the housewives.
Oh, okay.
He came on the show. I've never watched that show either, but a gal I went to school with was like, hey, did you see The Real Housewives of Salt Lake? Steve's one of the dads, and that was the owner of the school.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so he came in, and I was like, that sounds fun. So I went to
So how long were you in cosmetology school?
like 12 months or however long it takes.
That's not that cool. Okay.
It's like, it was 2,000 hours back then.
Wow.
So
So you did school and then you went into cosmetology? Is that very cool? How long you done that?
I actually don't do it anymore because I didn't keep up with my license because I got pregnant and then we moved to a really small town and then
Damn kids.
children. Just
Children.
kidding. Yeah. No, I actually was pregnant when I worked at a salon here in Orem. But then once I had a baby, like I wanted to be home with her.
Yeah.
And fortunately I was able to do that. So
Nice. So you obviously met John while you were in cosmetology school.
yes.
Okay. So,
Well, we actually met when I was in high school.
oh.
Well,
Saucy. Tell
I
us
know.
more.
Well, because he's like 4 years older than me. So I think I was like 17. And my friend didn't like my boyfriend that I had at the time.
Okay.
So she's like, you need to go out with my boyfriend's friend. And I was like, okay. So we went on a date. We went to a comedy club and like went out to dinner with like a group or whatever. But then, and then I ended up in the I broke up with my boyfriend anyway, blah, blah.
Whoa.
We went
hold
on a few
Hold on.
dates.
You went on a date with John while you still had another boyfriend?
Yeah, but it was just kind of like to see.
Girlfriend.
I was in high school. I was 17. You know what I mean?
It's all coming out now, kids.
Oh, yeah. Cut this out. Remember, Dakota, we said that if I said anything, you can cut it out. That's working.
Nope.
So we went on just a few dates, but then he was older and just, he was a little bit too rowdy for me,
Okay.
pretty much. So, we were just like, okay, we're good. So then I kept going to high school and then he kept doing what he was going to do. And then I graduated and then I worked at the bank. And then I went to a party and he was there. And then he found out that I worked at the bank. So he went to go buy a dirt bike. And he claims that he didn't need a loan to buy the dirt bike. He could have just bought it. But he got the loan at the bank so that he would have to go in every month to like pay the payment.
He's a smooth
I know, right?
operator.
Right?
Damn
So-
you, Hammond.
Then we started dating, and 22 years later, here we are.
So you've been together 22 years.
Married for 22 years, yeah.
But how long have you been together?
I mean, like 23 and a half. We were literally together for like 6 months, and we're in Utah.
Oh, says everything.
So, and I was married in 19.
Explains everything. Say no
So,
more. Done.
there we go.
People from Utah know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
People not from Utah, Google it. You'll understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so you married at 19.
Yes.
John was 23.
Yes.
Dating an older man. Whatever. He had a dirt bike. Who cares?
Yeah.
And then you had kids.
Yes.
So your eldest is how old?
19.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had her when I was 21.
Okay, so you have a 19-year-old,
Yep.
You
and then a
have-
17-year-old
17-year-old.
and a 15-year-old.
Wowza, girl, boy.
Yes. My youngest is a boy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, go boy. So I want to touch on a couple of things as you were talking about this. So you obviously got 3 kids. Was John an EMT at the time when you met, or was he getting into
No,
that?
he was, he did construction,
Okay.
excavation, like what he does
What
now.
he does now, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what we were doing.
Okay.
But in 2008, when like the recession hit, nobody was putting in rock retaining walls. You know what I mean? Building was kind of at a halt. So that's when he went to paramedic school and became a paramedic.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. So how was so you said that when you had your first child, you backed away from work, you became like a stay-at-home mom, looking after the kids. John's working. You're obviously part of the LDS church at that point. We didn't say that, but were you?
Yes. So
Okay.
I wasn't LDS growing up, really. I technically was. I got baptized when I was 8.
Okay.
And then, but my parents weren't active at all. I just went because I had a neighbor girl that would be like, oh, come to Beehives with me or whatever. So I would go to camp and then like occasionally go to church when I felt like it, or I'd go to the activities and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But then when we got married,
Was John part of the church?
yes, but not super active.
Gotcha.
We're just kind of like, but we got married and we're like, let's go through the temples. Then we did the whole everything you have to
rigmarole.
do to go through the temple. And then we did that like a year after being married.
Gotcha.
And then.
So how long were you, are you still LDS or how long were you?
Technically.
Okay.
Yes. So like technically we're still LDS.
Okay.
We're just not very active.
Not active
at all.
LDS.
Like I don't remember last time I've been to church. But I know.
And you drink coffee?
I know, like every morning. And I wear tank top. So
How rude. Oh, hope the church isn't listening to this podcast.
I know.
You're on their shit list. No, and obviously, we have so many friends through the network that we're part of that are active and aren't active. And one of us or one of our friends has been excommunicated twice, mentioning no names. So, and obviously for me, I'm not part of the LDS church. I've never been and really only learned as much as I now know about the LDS church in the last 18 months being around all you guys.
okay. All the Utahns.
All the Utahns, yeah, all the Morms. So you know, as you've got married, you've got kids, you've obviously got a faith behind you, which is kind of like a guiding core as to family life, right? You and John are still very young, 23 and 19. Where did you pull your parenting values from? Because obviously you've had a very dysfunctional childhood with parents, you know,
Yes.
an alcoholic and whatnot. So where did you pull your parenting guidelines from when you became parents?
Probably John's parents.
Okay.
His mom and dad were super involved with our lives because him and his dad had the construction business together. So they would work together.
Gotcha.
And then I would see his mom a lot because she was the one that was doing all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really involved.
So you kind of leaned into their traits as parents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's very cool. What was some of, I love this question because people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. What was some of the big mistakes that you and John made as younger parents?
As younger parents.
That when you look back now, you think, yeah, that was a stupid mistake. We probably could have done better.
The only thing I could think of is like stupid. But
That's okay.
it's
Share
the only
it.
thing I can think of.
Yeah, no such thing as stupid. Not on this podcast. Share it.
So you know when your kids are young and you want to like set up chores so that they're disciplined and like clean up after themselves and you know have a chore or something that they're responsible for.
Yeah.
So that was my goal. Like I wanted my kids to have like certain chores and whatever. But then they wouldn't do them. And so I would just end up cleaning it because it's easier. Like, oh, I'll just do it, whatever.
Were you putting your own check marks on the fridge?
My own sticker. There we go.
Yes, I got a gold star today.
I know.
Dang it.
But now that they're teenagers, I'm like, oh, shoot, I should have stuck with that because
Do they
now.
have a chore list now?
No.
Oh.
I still suck at it. I'm like, I need to like, I did have one like last year. I think I had one for a little bit. But then when nothing was getting checked off, I just like ripped it off the wall. I'm like, forget it. We're just going to go with the flow. But to my younger self, I would be like, listen, Necole, even though it's easier for you to do the pickup or whatever, make your kids do it.
I love,
So that when they're teenagers-
there is a way to get them to do it now as teenagers.
Take away their phones.
Take away the internet.
Yeah. But then they just go on to their phone internet.
Well,
it's a whole thing. We've tried. We've tried all the things.
That's pretty true too. Yeah, yeah. We have chores for the girls, and they've kind of, and that's more Andrea than me, but they've always kind of had like a little chore chart and make your bed and blah 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 blah. And now, you know, Anna takes care of the rabbit. They tidy their rooms. They keep their bathroom clean. Anna does the rabbit. Lily does the dog. You know, they do their own laundry.
See, you guys my kids do their own laundry. That's one
Well,
thing.
they've only just started doing it.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I don't know whether it's because of this, but I just had this meltdown one day. I was like, oh my God, kids, it's been a week and you've got 3 baskets of fucking laundry. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
And then I watch my daughter, Anna's the world's worst for this. And if you're listening, sweetheart, I love you, but you're terrible at this. She'll admit it too. She'll be like, yeah, I am. She'll go through 6 outfits in a day. I'm like, and we haven't even left the house. She gets up in the morning. She's got, PJs on. She gets out of her PJs. She puts her own outfit on. She wants to go in the pool. Takes the outfit on. Puts a swimsuit on. Done with the pool. Swimsuit off. New outfit on. I'm like, what's wrong with the one you were wearing 35 minutes ago that's still clean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but the shadows have changed, Dad. It's time for a different outfit. I'm like, oh, God. And she would like literally go through 4 or 5. I'm like, kiddo, stop wearing clothes. Just wear one outfit. And she kind of just eye rolls me as if to say, you wouldn't understand. You're not a girl. I'm like, whatever. So now I'm like, okay, if you're going to go through 37 outfits, you're going to do 37 outfits with the laundry.
Yeah.
So they do their own laundry.
Perfect.
And they kind of bicker about it because we kind of have them do all their darks together and then separate it at the end. And
Oh, yeah.
So then
that can get in trouble when they're teenagers because she's like, those are my pants. No, those are my pants.
Oh, and then you got...
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, well, I'm like, figure it out. Here's one thing. I know they're not mine.
There we go.
I'm the only male in the house.
Perfect.
I know none of this shit is mine.
Yeah.
So go figure it out. But now Lily's stealing my T-shirts. She steals my socks. I'm like, God, whatever. But yeah, they have chores. And I think it does instill a little bit of discipline, which is always good. I think it instills a routine. They have a routine. So every morning it's get up at this time. They do this, they do this, they do this, they do this. They're out the door on the bus. Mm. And we've actually noticed that the girls are really out of whack if they don't have that routine.
Yeah.
Like if we take the routine away, if we go on vacation, they're kind of like spinning without gravity to hold them down a little bit. They're like, oh, we need the routine, right? And so I think that's really important for them. But like when you get to teenagers, they don't give a shit. Lily's at that point now. It's like, okay, we say to her, bedtime by 9. She's like, ugh. Don't roll your eyes at me, kid. You're 13. When I was 13, I was in bed by 7:30. You're getting till 9 o'clock.
And he had to walk to school uphill both ways.
Uphill both ways.
I
in
know.
the snow. Right? I'm like, you have a TV in your room. You have internet. Like, what is wrong with you? You're going to bed at 9. And she's like, ugh. Yep. But then this kid's also the one that doesn't get out of bed until like 7:05 and the bus leaves at 7:15. I'm like, come on, kiddo, she's also the kind of kid that you're like, did you put on clean clothes today? She's like, yes. I'm like, oh, just checking. Because all your clothes are on the floor. I don't know whether they're clean, they're dirty. I'm like, I like the use of the floor drobe. It's
perfect.
a good use of space.
We got that too.
Yeah, I like to floor drobes are a good use of space. Closets are just a shit show.
Yeah.
So there's always that struggle about it. But yes, you gotta get those chores in early. Yeah. Otherwise, they're just.
So young parents, make sure you make your kids do chores.
Get a little chore chart. Let them have some stickers.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you've learned now as a parent? Some of the wins and some of the failures as a parent today with teenagers. What's some of the things that work and don't work?
I'm getting better with communication. So I think, especially like going through the We Are the They like queen stuff and like going to retreats and all that and learning things.
What's some of the things you've learned from that? Touch on that for a second.
Well, just my communication in general is kind of garbage. Like if something goes wrong or if there's like an argument or it's tense at all, I retreat. Like I don't like confrontation at all. And so if anything at all comes up that could be confrontational or anything, I just retreat. And I think that's and then I don't want to address it. I'll just like wait a few days and then hopefully it just like rolls over.
Do you think that stems from your mom?
100%. Like that's yes. And I realize, and I know that. Yeah. Like I know that. Yeah. And so now I'm like, okay, if something comes up, we need to talk about it and resolve it instead of like pushing it deep down and hoping it never comes up again.
Yeah.
So I'm learning that and then just better communication with my daughters and my son too, but just,
what would you say is your strength as a parent?
My strength as a parent. I don't know. I almost wanted to walk, because when I was like preparing for your podcast or just thinking about like, no, I'm not even though. Because at the end, how you're always like, what's your advice as a parent? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, so I was about to ask my 19-year-old, like, what do you think my advice as a parent should be? You know what I mean? Like get her perspective.
That would have been really cool.
I know, but then I didn't because I was like, oh, shoot, I need to know my question myself or whatever. But
we've got about another 25 minutes before we get to that question. So, you can keep
I gotta think
keep musing over that.
I think my kids can depend on me.
Okay.
I'm always there. If they need anything, I'm there. You know what I mean? I've always been there because I've been able to work either from home or not work out I don't work outside of the home too much. So I've always been available for my kids.
Yeah.
And I hope that they feel that mom's always there.
Mm-hmm.
So
what would you say? So obviously you and John married for 20 plus years at this point. You've got your strength of always being there. You said your weakness is you're getting better with the communication, the confrontation. What would you say John's strengths and weaknesses are? And do they balance you out? Or are they the same strengths and weaknesses and there's a whole void in the middle which you're trying to fix?
I think it's kind of funny because when I look at couples, when I'm meeting a lot of couples this last year, I noticed there's a lot of like yin and yang type things where there's strengths and then weaknesses, but it works.
Yeah.
Or like total opposites. Because John and I are very opposite in a lot of ways.
Okay.
But I think a lot of couples are, and it kind of balances everything out.
In what ways are you opposite?
Well, the first thing that comes is like TV shows and humor. Like I'm funny and he's just just kidding.
Oh shit, Johnny boy.
Well, no, like I'm
Hold on, let me speed dial John. I'm like, you may not want to listen to this podcast, brother.
I'll be like, you don't need to listen. It's fine. Oh, he never aired it. It's fine. No, he's funny too. But we just have a different sense of humor.
Okay, so what's your sense of humor?
I'm more
What do you find funny?
like goofy, stupid.
Okay.
Like I just love dumb movies. Like me and my son will just randomly like make faces at each other or like do a stupid dance move or like just be dumb.
Favorite dumb movie? This will give me the level of content of how stupidly funny, dumb you love stuff.
Like, I don't know if it's a favorite, but it's the first one. Like, I love Step Brothers.
Okay.
And just dumb movies like that.
So then where's John's comedy at?
I don't know.
Come on.
Well, I don't know.
You can't back out of this.
He's funny, but he's not like the dumb funny.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
He's more like a smart funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But we don't agree on shows. Like if you put us down in front of like Netflix and say, okay, what are you two gonna watch? Like I either pick something he wants to watch or I pick you know what I mean? Like there's no...
Here's the thing. You're not alone. I'm the same way. I love dumb funny shit. I love documentaries. I love, obviously, I'm a big movie, TV buff. As a kid, I wanted to be an actor, and it's taken me 38 years to even step into that field. But I love everything TV, Hollywood, movies, documentaries, that sort of stuff.
Me too.
Andrea is a reader. Mm-hmm. She loves to read. Like, I'm not joking. She can pick up a book at like 7 p.m. and she'll have finished it at 3 a.m.
Oh, wow. No.
And so much so, and this is so, you'll love this, as a kid, she used to get grounded from reading. They would send her to her room and like, you need to go to your room, but you're not allowed to read. And she was like, oh. That was her punishment. No reading.
Yeah.
So she's an avid reader. I've never known anybody read as quick as her, as much as her. It's just relentless. Whereas I'm the TV guy. I'm like, why read? Pictures say 1,000 words. Watch the movie instead.
There we go.
Right? So if you sit us down in front of Netflix, I'm like, hey, babe, what do you want to watch? She's like, oh, I don't know, whatever you want to watch. I'm like,
The Office it is. Just kidding.
that's probably not going to work for the both of us. So we try and like find a series.
Yeah.
We like to find a series that is educational, a little bit of humor, and something with enough longevity into it that we can get into it. I hate series that are like 4 episodes long and then that's the series. I'm like, screw you. Get at least 12 episodes per season, So like, for instance, The West Wing's one of my favorite series. We love to watch that over and over again. Game of Thrones, all that sort of shit, right? But if the two of us were like, it's life and death, you have to pick a show. I'm like, oh, shit. Because some things just don't interest her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like my types of movies. I don't necessarily like hers. She wants to watch chick flicks with the kids. I'm like, I'm out. I'm not going to sit here and watch Princess Diaries. I'm out.
Princess Diaries, yeah.
Twilight, I'm out. Like, I'm going to go watch something else. So it's okay to be different. It's okay to have that kind of level of difference. So back to
circle back. We derailed.
We railed. Oh my shit. So back to the original
parenting.
question. Parenting. John's strengths and weaknesses, your strengths and weaknesses, are they the same? Do you offset each other? Is there a void that you're working on fixing?
Well, I think John's really good at, I don't know if it's just like a man thing. I don't know. But he's good at like just laying down the law. Like, this is what's going to happen. These are the expectations. Mm-hmm. And he's really good at that.
Yeah.
It was a struggle for a while because he's like, I don't always want to be the bad guy. And I totally understood that. Like, I don't want him to come home from work, have to lay down the law, and then me be like the fun parent.
Yeah.
So that's not fair either. So then we tried to kind of both.
Yeah, like I could really see you being the mean parent.
I know.
Like, nice
I know.
try.
I feel bad because I try to okay, this is what's gonna, and
The kids are like, sure, Mom.
I know.
We'll wait till Dad tells us.
It's a struggle. Sometimes I'm like, just tell them because they won't listen to me. But it's my own fault because I'll lay down the law and then don't follow through because I'm like, No,
I get it. I'm the same way with Andrea. Like, there's been times where I feel like I'm overly disciplining the kids, and it's not that it's what I'm trying to discipline them to not do stuff. I'm like, just think about what you're doing. What you're doing right now is dumb shit. And I always have this kind of in my mind. I'm like, common sense. It drives me nuts when people don't use common sense.
yeah.
I'm like, and I've been caught out by this. I'm like, why are you doing that way? It doesn't make sense. Why don't you do it this way? It makes much more sense. And Andrea's pulled me up on it several times. She's like, just because it's your way doesn't mean it's the right way. I'm like, yeah, but my way takes 3 steps and hers takes 15. Why would you do it that way? And Andrew's like, what does it matter? You're not doing it. I'm like, that's a really good point. I'm not doing the chore, right? Let her do it. So I've often come down and it's a case of, kids, why are you doing that? Don't do that. That's stupid. Da, 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 da. And I just, and I say to Andrew, I'm sick and tired of always being the asshole. And Andrew turns around and she goes, you're only being an asshole because that's what you feel like you need to be. I'm totally okay if they do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So I kind of took a step back. I was like, does it hurt them? Does it hurt me? Is it breaking the house? Is it going to cause problems? No, I'll let them do it.
Yeah, you pick your battles. You don't want to fight over everything.
Yeah.
So you just kind of pick what's going to
Like
matter.
I tell the kids, I'm like, okay, you need to go do your laundry. And then they go and do the laundry. And I'm like, oh, I'm annoyed with you. I told you needed to do your laundry. You didn't do it. And they're like, sorry, Dad. And then they kind of get a little upset. I mean, I'm angry or pissed at them. And then I think to myself, why do I get angry? I have clean clothes. They're the ones that don't.
They'll get the natural consequence of not doing their laundry.
It doesn't stop me from going out wearing nice, clean clothes. They're the ones that are going to go out stinking like shit. It's their clothes, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, when the time comes when they're like, oh shit, I'm shit out of undies. Should have done your laundry, kiddo.
Or you just have to buy more $75 pairs.
Yeah, no way. No way. I'm like, kid, just go to school with dirty underwear. That's your lesson to learn.
Yeah.
So I think that's totally normal. There's always an offset of like John wanting to be the disciplinarian, not wanting to be, and sometimes moms come in and I'm telling you, moms only have to discipline on one thing and it puts it into context that us dads don't know how to discipline. Like I've sat back at times, I'm like, oh, when Andrea gets mad, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, remind me to never do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Moms have got a little fierce bite in there.
Well, I think if I ever do raise my level, the kids know I'm serious because it doesn't happen very often. So they're like, oh, Mom's mad, shoot.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Shit. So when you guys were, obviously John had his construction business.
Yes.
You were a stay-at-home mom at the time. Mm-hmm. And then John got into being an EMT paramedic.
Yes.
How was that for you? Because obviously being an EMT paramedic, it's stressful. Generally working shifts, so it's a home for longer periods, not normally the 8 to 5. It's 12-hour shifts and stuff like that.
He would work 48-hour shifts. No,
okay.
Yeah, 48, so 2 days, and then he'd be home for 4 days.
Okay.
But when you're a paramedic, you can't just have one job.
Yeah.
Like they don't get paid enough to have one job. So every paramedic we knew or firefighter, either one, they either worked part-time at another department or their wives had to work full-time.
Gotcha.
To make it work. So John worked, at one point, I want to say he worked at like 4 different stations.
Wow.
I mean, one of them he would only work like twice a month, but on those 4 days off, he wasn't home. He was off at another station.
Yeah.
So, and then our kids were pretty young. I want to say they were like 2, 4, 6 about when he started.
Okay.
So
was that difficult? Did that put a strain on your marriage and on your family that you were growing and nurturing at the time with him being gone so much and the long hours?
I'm sure it did, but honestly, like we just kind of rolled with the punches and did what we had to do. And like when the kids were younger, I'm sure it was harder because like they're young kids. And where did we live? Because we moved around a lot. When he went to paramedic school, we moved in with his sister just so, because I had to work too. And so my niece would watch my younger, the kids while I would go to work. He would go to paramedic school plus work a job. And it was funny because I think for paramedic school, it's only like 1,200 or 1,500 hours. I forget. And John's like, it took 2,000 for you to do hair.
Yeah.
And it only took me either 12 or 15, I forget, to like be a paramedic.
Save a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was funny. But
Yeah.
but it was fun. Like there's like a fire family. It's kind of, we have wives and families that would get together and to do stuff with. But
did you, when he left when he left being an EMT and a paramedic, did you feel a loss that you lost that community, or did you keep that community after he left?
No, it kind of was dwindling anyways.
Okay.
So I still have some really great friends that we text and get together occasionally, and that's how we met.
Yeah.
It was because our husbands were firefighters, but
Yeah. And then you joined We Other Day, and now you have
and now we have
a new family.
Yeah.
A new family of all us weirdos, which is fantastic.
and we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was like it was kind of nice because it got hard to get used to because he'd be gone for so long and I'd be in the house by myself and that kind of stuff. But eventually, like, I got used to it and I liked it because I would have my routine that me and the kids would do. I could make whatever I wanted for dinner. Like, we could have cereal if we wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, there was no schedule. It was just kind of whatever we wanted to happen. And then it gets kind of tough. And I bet you a lot of people could agree that live in this situation is like, we would have our stuff going on, me and the kids while he was at work. And then he would come home and it would kind of like throw things off a little bit. Just derail, not a bad thing. It was just different.
Yeah.
And then he would feel that, he wasn't involved because we had our thing going and then he would come home. It was a whole thing. Mm-hmm. But
and that's super easy to understand, right? And I 100% get that. And I'm sure for, military folks, a military individual being posted overseas for 12 months. I know that the US military do 12-month deployments overseas, that the UK military do 6 months. But, being a military member and being overseas for 12 months, the spouse, whether it's a husband and wife that's left home with kids or without kids, they build their own routine. They build a one-person parenting routine to look after however many kids, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And then when the spouse comes back, you've got your routine that's dialed in.
Yeah.
They come back and don't know what your routine is, and they want to mix it up. And you're like, whoa, hold on. You don't just get to walk through the door and completely turn this perfect routine into a shit show because you're home. It's got to be really difficult. And like as you said, that John, for instance, feels a little bit of an outsider because he's not part of the family routine. And then the kids must feel a little weird because, Dad's home, but we normally do this at this time, but now he's home, we're not doing it. Like, Mom, like, what's good? Like, their little worlds get turned upside down a little, right? That little bit of disruption, as we talked about earlier, having a routine and discipline and keeps everything on track. So I can only imagine it was really difficult for John coming home and, like, everything kind of disrupts everything.
Yeah. But it was nice because we lived in the city that he worked. And so he could always stop in, or if Raleigh had a football game, he could usually go to it and still be involved. Or we can stop off at the station and say hi. And
that's nice.
That went really well. But
how long was he in EMT for?
12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made him leave?
That's his own story to tell. Yeah. There was just some, I don't know. Like, there's a few reasons.
Okay. Were you working at the time while he was in the EMT? Were you working your own business? Because I know you have your own business now, which I want to touch on real quickly. But were you working when he was in the EMT too?
I would just work kind of odd jobs. Actually, I worked for, like, my last job. I did social media management for a company. Okay. And that's what I did. And I was their marketer, so I would go visit like agents and. Yeah, I worked for them. But my kids were older and they were in high school and junior high, so they could.
How did you balance it when the kids were younger, with John gone for the long extended shifts and you obviously being a young parent, maybe working or not working, or maybe even the transition from not working to working? How did you balance that out? You got, 3 young kids, husband that's gone for extended periods. You obviously want your own life and to see friends and not just be stuck indoors. How did you balance all that out?
I don't know. I'm trying to think because I worked on and off just to kind of get out of the house.
Gotcha.
I did work at my kids' school just as an aide, just to kind of be involved in the school. And I had the same hours as they did.
Yeah.
Gave me something to do. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say like, honestly, I had a few friends, but it's not like we would ever go hang out. They had their lives. I had mine. Like my kids, like that was my life, was my kids and my husband.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting now to like have my kids older and they don't need me so much. So now I'm working more because I can.
Yeah.
And luckily,
Well, that's what I want to touch on. You have your own business now. You do social media marketing and social media consulting. And for people that don't know, you should go follow Necole on IG. You do a lot of great tips and tricks for Instagram and Canva and social media. So now you've kind of, like you said, your kids are a little older. They don't need you anymore. So you can spend more time, building your business and doing things that fill your cup, right?
Yeah.
What's the plan when they leave home? Because they're not that far away.
I know, right?
How old's your youngest?
15. So we got a little bit.
3 years we get
I
out
know.
of the house.
Yeah.
So what's the plan when...
Well, maybe in this economy, where are they going to go?
Well, that's true.
They're going to be in our basement for a while.
That
Just
is
kidding.
very true. Yeah, okay. But do you and John have you talked about like, hey, when the kids leave for college, this is what we're doing?
Yes, but our plans are a little different from each other. We don't know because...
Okay, so what's your plan? What do you want to do when the kids leave home?
That's the thing. Like I like where we live.
Okay.
I want to stay there. Like our landscaping's done. Like we're good. We can stay there. But then John has this idea, and I like it too. But I'm like, ugh, the idea of building again makes me just. Ugh. But he wants. Have you seen the barn dominiums?
Yes.
So he wants to build a barn dominium, which I've seen some that look amazing, and I'm like, I could do that and live on like 10 acres somewhere, like out in the middle of nowhere. That's what he wants to do. But I'm like, it depends where my kids go because he wants to head south because it's too cold in the winter.
Okay.
Which I'm starting to agree with. I'm like, it's
Arizona's
too stinking cold. I know.
Arizona's pretty awesome.
But it's really hot during the summer.
Tucson's only 105 during the summer.
Oh, that's it. Well, I guess it sometimes gets like 100 here.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. So
Phoenix, 110, 115. Tucson, 105.
Okay.
Christmas Day, mid-80s.
Oh, wow. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's,
And then you're in the pool by like February.
Well, yeah, if you've got a heated pool, you're in the pool all year round. If you don't have it heated, probably end of February, beginning of March, you're in the pool.
Yeah.
You're probably out of the pool by October, November because it's too cold. The kids got in the pool the other day and it wasn't heated. And I was like, oh my God, it's cold. I was like, but it's 78 degrees. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, can you turn the heater on? I'm like, no, you candy ass. Get in there. And they're like, oh, we're going to go take a hot bath. I'm like, you are such Arizona kids. The pool's 78 degrees and you're cold.
Nice,
like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
well,
So we're
that's pretty cool.
undecided what
That's
the
pretty
plans
cool.
are. We'll see.
Yeah.
See. We'll see where it takes us.
Move south. Here's the thing though, right? You guys should do whatever you guys want to do. Because honestly, once the kids get into college, if they go to college or whatever, like you've done your shift. When they get to 18 and 20, you've kind of done your shift.
Yeah.
Like at that point, it's like, okay, kids, the world is your oyster. You go to college, get a degree, get a job. Mom and dad are always going to be here for you. We're always going to be a safety net for you. But I'm not going to sit and live in this house when I could be in Aruba for 6 months of the year just because you may call one day or might want your laundry done or a dinner.
Or like to hang
here.
out with grandkids. Like, what if they have kids?
Grandkids, sure. But from the age of 20 to the age that whenever they get married, settle down and have kids, you and John need to go live
We're
your
in
life.
Utah. That could be like 19.
Well, I was going
Just
to say
kidding.
that probably could be the next 3 years, actually. Yeah, never know, who knows. But you know what I'm trying to say is
I
like,
get it. Yeah.
so many. I think this happens, and I'm in real estate. I meet a lot of people, and I meet a lot of parents. I meet a lot of grandparents that are selling and buying for whatever reasons, and a lot of it is family based. And I meet a lot of grandparents who have bought a home in Arizona because their grandkids are there. And then their kids move and take the grandkids away, and now they're stuck in Arizona. I'm like, why don't you just do you?
Yeah.
Don't follow your kids around and live in states and cities that you don't particularly want to be in just so you can see your grandkids. Go live wherever the fuck you want to live and make a point of going to see them once every 6 months or once every month or whatever you want to do. Because here's the thing, they're not holding their life back because of nanny and granddad. They're going to go do whatever they're going to do, right?
Yeah.
So why are nanny and granddad putting their life on hold for the grandkids? Like, I get it, but go live your life. You only get one of them and you're getting up there in age. Bugger off. Flew. Go.
Fine, we'll build a barn dominium down south.
There you go. Done. John, you're welcome.
John's like, thank you.
John actually texted me. He's like, hey, can you hit this point?
Can you do
Get her
that,
to
Matt?
agree to a barndominium in another state. You're welcome, buddy.
There we go. But it has to be close to Lake Powell. So as long as it's close to Lake Powell, then we're good.
You could do Northern Arizona, Flagstaff.
Yeah.
Hour and a half away from Lake Powell.
There you go.
Beautiful. Little snow in the winter, little warmth in the summer. There you go.
Maybe. We're also going to have a vacation home somewhere.
Oh, gee, well, look at you
That's
two.
the goal.
Look at you. So what fun things do you, and you talked about Lake Powell, what fun things do you guys love to do as a family? What brings you together and brings you the most enjoyment as a family, the five of you?
Definitely Lake Powell. We have a boat, so we have to use it as much as possible. So we're down there probably 4 to 5 times a year.
Okay.
Just because if you're going to take the boat somewhere, you might as well, like you can go up north, but then it's really cold. So then we just drive 5 hours and go to Lake Powell.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, John's been down. I've been at Lake Powell with John the other day. We've had the boat down there, and we absolutely have a blast. And we see you guys on social the weekends during the summer.
Yeah.
Down at Lake Powell. Lake Powell is truly a freaking awesome place.
We love it.
Yeah, and when you take families as well, like there's no agenda. You want to go swim. You want to go wakeboard. You want to just do nothing, right? It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
There's no cell service. You're completely disconnected. It is just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then when you get back to the marina, you've got like 157 missed calls, 1,000 text messages. You're like, this fucking sucks. Turn around, go back to the lake again. I'm done for another 5 days. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So the lake brings you your enjoyment. What else?
We like to go just outdoors, hiking.
Are you sportsy people? Do you follow like sports, baseball, football, that kind of thing?
We have season tickets to the Utes football games for the last like 7 or 8 years.
Super
So
cool. I've been to a Utes game.
yep,
I went with
we're
Nick
going on
Howland.
Saturday. That's what we do.
Yeah, it was actually really cool. I went with Nick Howland and Jimmy last year. First time I ever went to a Utes game, and it was really
fun.
cool. Yeah, it was. I've been to a couple of U of A games. They're fun, but
Yeah.
the Utes stadium is really cool. The way it's set up and on the hilltop, and you can look out over the city. It's pretty dope.
No, we like it. And then my son plays football, so we go to all his games. And
Oh, he does. Oh,
Yeah.
he's a footballer. Very cool.
so,
Very cool. So at the weekends, you're just driving around, practices, games.
yep.
Yeesh, just basically an Uber.
Yeah, but football's about to end. I think their last game's tomorrow. Depends on how far they go with playoffs or whatever. But
Very cool.
yeah,
I
but it's
love
getting
that.
colder, so it's okay if it ends.
Yeah, it is getting chilly up here. I bought no warm clothes on me.
Well, no, this is good. This is good weather you're experiencing right now. I'm like, it's been so warm lately.
Girlfriend, no.
I know.
You live in Arizona, this is cold.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
I literally stepped out last night and
yeah.
I was like, why don't I have a winter coat? Like, this is freezing. And like Michael McHenry's walking around in shorts and a t-shirt.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is so wrong. So wrong. So as we start to wrap up, I told you 25 minutes ago, you had a 25-minute warning to give me and the viewers and the listeners your best piece of parenting advice.
Man, I know I should have asked my daughter. Just kidding. I think just give yourself grace. And as long as you're trying to do your best and trying to be a good parent, like I'm not perfect. My parents weren't perfect. Their parents weren't perfect. We're all just doing our best, I feel like.
Yeah.
So as long as you're there for your kids and can listen to them and try to help them out and guide them to be the best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
If I'm doing that, great. Like that's my goal. I hope that's what I'm doing with my kids. But yeah, I guess just to be available and love them and do your best every day and learn. If there's something that you're unclear of or want to be better, like keep on bettering yourself too. Because I think this last year has helped me a lot with dealing with my past stuff too. That has helped me with parenting.
I was going to say, have you last question, I promise. Have you, dealing with your past through We Are the They Queens and the friends you've made and the conversations you've had and the vulnerabilities that you've shared, have those conversations and those walls that you've brought down, have they changed the way you parent or the way you look at parenting?
I definitely think I'm less, I don't know. When my mom would call or if I would have a conversation, I haven't talked to my mom for about 2 years. I think it's been about 2 years. But when my sister would call and just talk about her or what's going on, I would get triggered. I hate using the word triggered, but it would just, my nervous system, and I would just feel sick, and my whole day was like down the tubes. But at this last retreat, we had to write a letter to our moms and like kind of explain. I had to change the wordage because they wanted us to say like, I hate you because, and I'm like, oh, I can't say hate. I forgot what I said, but I was like, I can't say hate because I don't hate my mom. But like, I'm just disappointed, or I forgot what I said. But we wrote this letter, and that like, it helped. I didn't send it to her. She has no idea I wrote this letter, but I wrote it, and I was able to put into words what I was feeling and what I was kind of dealing with. And I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to talk to her, but ever since then, if she's ever brought up, if I have a family member talk about her or say what's going on with her, I don't have that reaction anymore.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And, and I think it's just kind of, and through all this, like all the like stuff that we've done with like retreats and like lessons that we've learned, is that she was doing the best she could. And it kind of makes me nervous about, but like other people, when they're kind of telling about like their childhoods and things that kind of stuck with them, I'm thinking to myself, oh, what am I doing to my kids? Like, what are my kids going to be talking about in 20 years? Like, oh, my mom did this and that's why I act this way or whatever. So I'm just trying to be the best mom I can with the tools that I have.
If I was to ask your 3 kids collectively, give me one word to describe mom, what do you think they would say?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Like, I want to go ask my kids this and see what they say. The first thing that came to me was like goofy, or like, I feel like I'm patient with my kids.
Okay.
So I don't know if they feel the same way, but.
Okay, so you say patient?
Yes.
So I want you to go home.
I am going to.
Collectively ask the 3 of you, hey, what one word describes me? And then text me and let me know.
We'll see. I know, I'm curious.
No, I'd love to see it. Yeah, and honestly, as you were talking about your mom and what you were doing to your kids, I was like, oh, I wonder what your kids would describe you as. And that's why that literally just made that question in my mind. I was like, it's a good one. Sure, I'm going to put that in the bank. But yeah, I'd love to know. You think it's patient, or you believe it's patient?
I hope it's patient. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you might be surprised. They may come out with something that just hits you in the throat and you're like, oh my God. And you start crying and say, you love me that way, kids. You know, they could just tell us something that completely rocks your world.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and that will be even
I'll
more
let you know.
beautiful. Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. I know it was your first podcast. You absolutely rocked it. You did a great job. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for allowing me to connect with you and for others to listen to connect with you as well. And obviously I didn't know anything about your past and anything about your mom. And obviously that's something that you and I and Andrea can connect over because you've gone through the same things that we are going through and our daughters are going through. So I just really want to say thank you for taking the time, coming all the way up here and being on the podcast. You did an amazing job. And I really want to know what your kids say about you.
I know, me too.
I want to know that one word, and then I will put that one word in the description of the podcast.
Better be a good one.
It better be a good one. It really better be a good one. We might have to do some editing.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much for being on.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. It was
You're
fun.
very welcome. Thank you for listening to the Bear Den podcast. Please click subscribe and get the updates for our new episodes. And if you feel the need to reach out, you can reach me on Instagram @TheBritBear.